Good evening, everybody. Uh-oh. What happened there? All right. This was obviously one of the scurvy crews that came up to class out here, is looking out on the lake. Okay, yeah, nice looking group, especially that guy in the middle with the white hair and the flowered shirt. Whoops. All right. All right, can everybody hear all right? Am I yelling loud enough? Good evening, Vladimir. Oh, I guess I better. Yeah, we're getting quite a few emails about the lake. And I tell people, everything that you see during these sessions, you're going to see again up at the lake, but it's all going to be put in a orderly fashion where you can see the logic and kind of build up your, I guess, your logic process of why candlesticks work so well. Yep, even the ducks come in for this thing. So, and remember, once you, if you come to the lake, afterwards you get 12 months free to the website. You get everything you want off the website, any of the videos, anything you want. All you have to do is email Abraham and say, I was at the lake, please send me the 12 major signals, or send me the scanning package, or whatever you need. It's all available. So, some people were asking about the cost. Beat me to it, Hog Driver. It's $5,400 for the 3-day session. That includes the rooms. I mean, we have rooms up there. We got nice bathrooms. Everybody shares the bathrooms. We're in a lake house, a nice modern lake house. And so it's $5,400. You don't have to worry about meals. We serve breakfast, and we go to lunch at the wineries. We go to dinner at some of the nice restaurants along the lake. You don't have to worry about a thing. Once you get there, all you really need is your bathing suit and your flippers. And Stephanie, we've been having this problem now for the last few days where people are getting echoes. We don't know what's causing that. So you might want to log off. Oh, somebody said they had to log off, unhook their modem, rehook their modem, and then log back in, and they get rid of the, oh, that's what was it, the router. You fly into Rochester, and we come pick you up, drive down to the lake, and you don't have to worry about driving anything. So, yeah, includes the Peking ducks. And usually what people do is they'll pay half now and then bring the other half to the lake. And if you need some financing, I think Abe's got it set up where you can make 3 equal installment payments. So anyways, it's just a very nice atmosphere up there. Just very relaxing. And we do it this way so that you're not getting brain fried all day long. That we take our breaks, we go down on a deck overlooking the lake, or we even jump in the lake, depending on how hot it was and or is. We take breaks. We go see the Curtis Museum, showing some of his early motorcycles and some of his early planes. Frank, so anyways, the reason we're showing it to members, we want members to have first opportunities. We usually fill up pretty quick. If you have any more questions on it, just email me, steve@candlestickforum.com, and send along your phone number, and we can go through the details. Sometimes we sit out on the deck at night and watch the moon come across the water. Oops, that's fuzzy. All right, as we can see, this market is doesn't include out-of-state fishing license. Yeah, Big Al will have so much to eat you won't even think of going fishing. As we can see, we're still in this sideways mode of the market, just very indecisive. The whole time it's been indecisive. Up days, down days, up days, down days. And going nowhere. We're trading right about the same level we were about 3 months ago. All right, as we can see, we're just moving sideways, just very indecisive. Now, that has two ramifications. One, we're not going up, but the other side of the coin is we're not going down. So that helps us in the sense that if we can find charts that are doing a price pattern and there's no major change of investor sentiment in the markets, those price patterns are probably going to work because there's nothing negative working against them. At least we're being recorded, so if you don't see, I'll try to put the names on each chart, so if you have to and you can hear me, at least have the charts up on your screen and go to them. All right, so we're looking at the NASDAQ right now. That the benefit we have with candlesticks is we can see that even though the NASDAQ was down 21 points today, it was up from where it opened. So there was buying going on before the end of the day. Crude oil had backed off today. And somebody asked what I was doing with crude oil. I'm doing absolutely nothing with crude oil right now. I can't get rid of this. And the reason for that is there's not really a good chart here to be trading crude oil. Glenn will try to get to the individual stocks after we do the double line. So on the crude oil chart, it looks like a slow rounding bottom supporting at the 50, but not anything right now that we'd want to be trading until there's a viable trend. Gold also, nothing here of any major consequence. If anything, you want to be long gold. Is just now trying to break this downtrending channel, but still not any chart that I'd really be going after aggressively. Silver, somewhat the same way. It's trying to bottom out, but it hasn't been able to get back up through the T line yet. Now, we did some with soybeans today. Fortunately, I closed this out on the close, and the reason for that was during the day, look what type of pattern it was doing. It opened and started trading lower, kind of a doji sandwich. But then by the end of the day, look where it closed, back up here as a doji, which gave us not a real good chart pattern. So you close it out, and what do you want to see the next day or the next trading period? Right now, this is after hours, so it's trading up some. You pretty much want to see it open lower again. Then you can re-short it. You don't want to be caught in something like this where this indecisive trading today is now followed by bullish trading, or essentially telling you there's probably more of a J-hook pattern. What else did we do? Oh, I shorted hogs a few days ago. Notice the failure here. and then notice the doji sandwich. So right now, I'm still short hogs, and this is where I took profits earlier, and then as it bounced back up, this is where I go to my 10-minute chart. I usually trade off the 10-minute chart during the day. So the 10-minute chart, after the open today, came down, took profits here, because anytime you see a big move, anytime you start seeing buy signals, it means there's usually going to be some profit taking back up here. But as soon as it came back down through this level, we re-shorted, and then same scenario down here. When it started back up, we closed out the trade. We shorted or re-shorted as it came back down through this level, and going into the end of the day, there was nothing that brought it back up. All right. Okay, we'll start over. That's a good idea. All right. As we were saying, the markets have been relatively flat. Not relatively, absolutely flat. There's just all this whipsaw. That's the Dow. The NASDAQ, pretty much the same. The bias is just slightly positive, but right now, on today's close, we're about the same level we were a month ago or even 2 months ago. So there's really nothing in the direction of the market that's going to tell you want to be predominantly long or predominantly short. But this always brings me back to one simple observation, that using candlestick charts or scanning techniques, we can find, we don't need 50 stocks up or 50 stocks down. We only need 4, 5, 6 that are acting well. And crude oil, not trading this one because the market on the crude oil is kind of this fry pan bottom, nothing real tradable. Now, I've been short lean hogs. That's been a good trade so far. And we shorted coffee, because coffee has an obvious trend channel. There's the tops, there's the bottom. So stay short. With stochastics heading down, we've got a bearish doji sandwich. So the likely target is the back of the trend channel or the bottom of the trend channel. So I'll start looking. Obviously, I want to see everything weak until we get down to this level. Then I'll start watching to see if there's any buy signals. Soybeans was short for a while on this and covered it because this also has a downtrending channel. But look what it did. During part of the day, it was way down here, which has given us a bearish doji sandwich. But at the end of the day, it was closing right up here and indecisive. So when it's indecisive, that makes our direction less likely to be down, because now at this point, with an indecisive, we could be going sideways, up, or down. And as we can see after hours, they're trading this up a little bit. So on trading a chart that has turned into, from a good directional chart into something that's not great, close it out and move on to something else. And I'll try to get more into that. How do you use that as your portfolio strategy here in a little bit. How do you trade crude oil, lean hogs with options house? I use Thinkorswim Tradewell. That's the 10-year note starting to come back up, meaning rates are kind of going back down a little bit. And right now we're long the euro because it keeps trying to climb back up slowly, which means the dollar, the dollar is still in a downtrend, also in this downward trend channel. Let's see if there's anything else. We did gold, dollar, interest rates. As we can, this is where you observe the obvious. This is wheat. Wheat failing right at the 200. But we're right now near the bottom of the trend channel. So if I was short this one, which I should have been on weakness today, I'd be watching diligently to see if it holds this level. Cotton kind of stuck in between the moving averages here. The echo is better. All right. Okay, some of the stocks that are acting well. Cyber looks like it did this whipsaw at the end of the fry pan bottom. Notice where it's supported again, right back smack dab on the 50-day moving average with a Morningstar signal. And now look where we are. We're just about ready to break out into new high territory. So if they start trading this positive, remember this one had a big, huge move from here to here, which was approximately 35 points. If they move from here up 35 points, that takes us into the $100 range. So that one's still acting well. BV was one that got clobbered the other day. I forget whether it was a downgrade or they were coming out with a new issue, but this is why you always let the knee-jerk reaction play itself out, because the pattern was building up. Then they whacked it down. If you closed out, you should have been buying it back today, because that tells you now this J-hook pattern's in progress. We're near the breakout level of this whole congestion area, which makes the 50-day moving or the 200-day moving average. All right. Also keeping an eye on ADXS. A little bullish engulfing signal. Get ready for that J-hook pattern, because notice what the trend is doing. There's the bottom of the trend channel, which makes this the top of the trend channel. So I'm watching this for positive trading tomorrow. Now, even when the market's moving sideways, again, the benefit of having the charts and knowing the patterns and the signals is that it catches moves like this. And the reason it catches moves like this is we know what type of signals we should be that this is our Morningstar signal, and we've got this kind of downtrending channel, and when it's broken through, that puts us in a very high probability situation. There's a new dynamic in that stock. So we're staying long on AHTN. Kind of the same scenario for SIGM. When it broke this little downtrending channel, that's where the pops usually come. Notice a slow curve breakout type situation. FRSH, another one. Notice that this, kind of this trend channel, when it was broken, started getting some very good activity. And we can see that slow curve breakout. So there's lots of things going on. It was breaking out this downtrending channel. It broke through the 50, and it was coming in after a little left-right combo on the breakout. That tells us there's probably going to be a lot more upside. What was that? Let's see. Did I do HQY? Same scenario. Notice the kind of a little resistance, and they've broken through. So these you just kind of ride with until you see that sell signal and a close back below the T-line. There's that breakout with our best friend, Doji Gap Up, in a good, strong 45 degree from here. And Yodel, this is telling us they took out some sellers today, and this uptrending channel is still in progress. So they haven't been able to close this back below the T-line. We're still along this one. Eyes started making some noise right from the get-go today. There's a little doji sandwich, broke this wee little wedge formation. Now you have that J-hook pattern, and look where we're sitting. Right here at the resistance level. Still a good buy if it opens positive tomorrow. And OVAS, another one that we recommended not too long ago. There's that slow curve. This one you want to definitely be watching on a positive open tomorrow, whether you're trading the stock and or the options. If this breaks out, that's where the popping really starts. Now you lost the video. Oh man, Don. I don't know. Google Chrome. All right. Okay. Yes, UPN. Now this is where it's doing what we expect, coming out of a fry pan bottom. Very strong price move. However, notice where we're starting to move as far as the T-line. We're starting to move away. So if this starts getting exuberant buying, that's where you start flipping to your 10-minute chart. That was the reason for our recommendation on BNFT. Whoops. BNFT today. Funny. There's that fry pan bottom. Now watch to see if they come back through this level, that means there's profit taking. Where would my stop right now would be at today's low. Wouldn't want to see it come back down through that level. If that's telling me that I've had a doji at the top and now they're going to profit take back to the T-line. They've used other browsers. Some people have used a couple different browsers, and it's still acting the same for some reason. Somebody else said if they logged off and rebooted their router and came back on, they were all right. Do you still stop out if it... Yes. Remember, we're buying or selling the option as a basis of how we're buying the stock. So if this was telling me they were selling with probability of bringing it back to the T-line, I want to close out my option position because I don't know if they're going to bring it back to here or here or here. Why take the risk? Close it out because we know if they come back to this level, they're probably taking profits. SUPN, oh, we did that one. That's why we came back to this one. SRPT, another one that we're holding on because that's got a nice pattern. There's a big move up. There's your 45 degree as long as it stays above the T-line. PGNX, doing what it's supposed to. If they can break out through this level, there could be a lot more upside on this one. Probably taking us up at least up into the 7.25 range. And we'd mentioned NHTC not too long ago. This one is still working well. I'd still be a buyer of this one on positive trading tomorrow. Because you can see the obvious. They consolidate, take it up. Consolidate, take it back up. Where would I put my stop in PGNX? Probably at today's open. If it came back down through there, it's telling me they didn't break out. I want to come back out of that trade. Now, when I say come back out of that trade, this is the process that if I've got 8 or 10 positions on and I see one's not working, I just close it out and move on to something that is working or has a much better potential of working. That gets rid of that syndrome, which I used to have, is when I bought something and it started going the wrong way, I kept thinking, oh man, maybe it's going to turn around and go back up. But when you see something not working, there's 3 things that can happen. 2 of them are bad. 1 is it just goes sideways. 2, it keeps going down. And if things work out happily, it turns around and heads back up again. But again, that's against the probabilities. That's the whole reason for using the candlestick charts to tell you what's the investor sentiment going on in a trade. Zoo, another nice fry pan bottom. Be ready to buy this one on positive trading. And BLDR, notice that we've had this downtrending channel. There's a slow curve closed at the top of this downward trend channel. If this opens positive, good potential of another move of maybe 5 or 6 points to the upside, taking you up probably into the $18, $19 range. That's right, neutrality. And CBM, another one in the breakout mode, just about ready to go into new territory. This one's been thrown around a lot today. This has got a good looking chart. ATRA, nice big fry pan bottom breakout. If this is wave one, this could have another, oh shoot, it moved up big today. It was up $8 today. This one could be up another 20, 30 bucks to the upside. AMCN was a good-looking chart, except I think they announced they're accepting part of a buyout situation, and this is exactly why when getting news and you don't know what that news is going to do, the chart will tell you what that news is, how it was interpreted. So this is a case where if it didn't bounce back up by the end of the day, you want to close it out. It may come back, but you've got a big bearish engulfing signal with stochastics coming down. This is something you don't want to be in anymore. And GIMO is doing what it's supposed to be doing. There's your 45 degree. All you can do with this one is stay long as it stays above the T-line. And let's see, there's a few more here that have good-looking charts. There's that slow curve in ATEN. Should be riding along the top of the trend channel. BDSI. Still in this J-hook type pattern. Notice how the T-line could not be breached to the downside. AXLL. Another little double bottom with your best friend. I'd be watching this. If they can get it through the 50, they're going to the 200. But you can see they've broken this downtrending channel, and then they moved up with kind of a flutter kicker best friend gap up. Oh, I was doing this one anyway. ZIOP, another one that has broken the downtrending channel. Ryland Homes, with that gap up through this downtrending channel, can be bought. Expect a 45 degree to come off of there. And this one I would be going after aggressively tomorrow, PRTA, because you're in the classic fry pan bottom J-hook pattern. So if this has moved 16 points, this should take you up into the $62 area. And PGTI, another one that as long as it stays above the T-line, you can stay with it. Somebody pointed out NVIV today. As long as these charts stay above the T-line, you'd just stay long on these. What about days like today when almost everything went down in the morning but came back later in the day? When do you get out versus waiting it out? Oh, I can find a few here in a minute. First of all, Mankind, let me see if I can find some of the charts that did that today. Mankind can be bought. Came off the cradle pattern. Notice how far away it moved from the T-line, came back through the T-line but supported off the 50. Now you have a little flutter kicker. This one you can be buying based on wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. And AAOI, another J-hook pattern in progress. Another one that you can be buying on positive trading tomorrow. Eddie, I haven't forgotten your question. I'm waiting to pick out one of the charts that occurred on. Let me see. CNC, There's that slow curve breakout in a new. Let's get rid of this. I think maybe this was one of them. Nope. I'll figure it out. There's a few of them today that I would have closed out on the. Oh, this one is a good example. That we know that this did a bearish Harami on Friday at the lower end of the trading, which is not a good sign. It opened lower today, which is also telling us that it's going to move in the direction how they opened it after a doji. Plus, on top of that, we could see the market was selling off. So that made it a perfect time to close out this position because it's not doing what it's supposed to. However, when it turned around later in the day and started coming back up, especially when it came back up through the open, that pretty much tells us we want to start watching that the bulls are stepping in. There's many times I'll close out a position right here someplace and buy it back that same day here because all that told me was they weren't going to close it lower. So I would rather close out something and buy it back knowing that when it's moving higher, it's doing what it's supposed to versus holding on to something, hoping that it was going back up and then riding it all the way back down. That ticker was HNT. MDR is a good example. That, remember our simple rule of the doji, it's going to move in the direction how they open it after a doji. So when they gapped it down right here on the open and started trading it down, that was a good time to be closing it out. But as we can see, it closed back up above the T-line. So if you were buying when it came back up through, it needed to stay above the T-line, and or if it opens positive tomorrow, then you can be buying. Once again, there's a lot of times where if this was a 10-point move and I only got 8 points, at least I knew when I got those 8 points that the probabilities were in my favor of being long, and when I got out, it was time to get out. Do you close out if dips below the T-line intraday or wait till end of day? That's the difference, is these were opening below the T-line, or if they were opening after doji and trading down through the T-line and the market was trading down, yes, that's not a good reason to stay in that position. So I close them out right away with the idea that if they turn around and if the market turns around or one or the other, I say if the stock turns around and the market turns around, or if just the stock turns around, I can always buy back. XON, yes, same scenario. I would have closed out here, somewhere down here, but then been ready when it came back up through the open, or getting ready to buy this back on positive trading. When were they continuing? Altria, I guess the old Philip Morris, because of this failure at the T-line. Now this was actually a kicker type signal. For some reason it's showing a shooting star in this chart, whereas on the other chart it showed a kicker signal. But notice what type of pattern it's doing. Right now it's doing a bearish J-hook. So if this is wave 1, we expect wave 3 to come down into this area. SGMO, there's that slow curve and breakdown. So we can be shorting this one on weakness with the anticipation we have a wave 1, wave 2, and the fact that we had dojis and then a gap down told us they want to get out of this one with great enthusiasm. And SCOR, there's that kicker type signal. I'd be shorting this one on weakness tomorrow with the anticipation it could eventually come back down and test the 200-day moving average. ARRY, same scenario. Notice how we've had the slow curve failure of the T-line. This one could come all the way down at least to test or fill this gap, which might also coincide with the 200-day moving average catching up. TGTX, same scenario. There's your dumpling top. There's your bearish engulfing signal. There's your gap down. First target I would suspect would be the 200-day moving average. And SVU, another slow curve coming out of a dumpling top. Another one that should be shorted on weakness tomorrow. With, again, a wave 1, wave 2 going into wave 3. Okay, well, I guess that's about all. Let's see, we did coffee, we did, not long cocoa today, because that's this is why the patterns help so much. There's your J-hook pattern, and notice what broke out in a new territory of bullish engulfing signals, stochastics coming back up. Now there could be another wave just like this. So cocoa is a slower mover as far as price movement during the day, so it makes it relatively easy to get in and out of this one without it whipsawing too much. Okay, are there any, gold. Yeah, gold was GCAQ5. Let me see which one is working the best. Gold, I haven't been trading gold here for a while just because there's really nothing to make this any great make this any great trade right now. You live in paradise. Why do you work so hard? Oh, I like doing this. I've made, I guess it's just the enthusiasm or the adrenaline of knowing how bad an investor I was prior to candlesticks coming along, and how simple it was to make money once I learned how to use candlesticks correctly. So it's like anything else. You discover something that works great, we like to show other people. Oh, sorry about that. Something was beeping and I couldn't figure out what it was, which in this case is flash flood warning in this area until midnight. Avoid flood areas. Aha. Okay. Severe alert. So, Jennifer, anyways, after being such a poor investor and doing everything that I look back and say I was just a typical bad investor. I would do buy at the top and sell at the bottom and wait for a stock. I wasn't going to buy a stock until it proved it was moving up, which usually meant by the time I decided to get in, it was already moved up and ready to reverse. And I like what I do. I trade my own account every day, so I'm usually sitting here. I take breaks during the day and go out to the barn and see what car I can tinker on. But anyways, it's fun. Do you sometimes close out a position when stock breaks a support level, but before reaching down to the T line? Yes. Remember, the number one criteria for getting in and out of a trade is the signals. So if there's a signal that is way too far away from the T line and it's starting to show a reversal signal, I'll take my profits, because that's the signal. If that signal is that far away from the T line, then the rest of the probabilities are it's going to come back to the T line. Or if I see something supporting on the T line for the last week or two, and then all of a sudden there's a little sell signal and they're starting to trade back below the T line, I may close it out, because that tells me they aren't taking it up anymore. And the worst case scenario is I close it out and it comes back up above the T line and can always buy back in. I would guess that probably 25 to 30% of the time I'm closing out a trade and then buying it back when it turns around and moves back in the direction it's supposed to be. Just because it doesn't really have a direction. It's got a lot of resistance right here. it just doesn't look like a chart. I mean, if you really like it, you can trade it and use the T-line as your stop. But there's nothing here that would make me really like this trade. I want something where I can see there is a trend to it. Like shorting the hogs. There wasn't a lot of congestion here. When they broke it down, they were breaking it down. Same thing on coffee. They hit the resistance level and they broke through all these moving averages. There was nothing down here to tell me there's anything in the way. If you get stopped out like this morning, are you likely to watch for a recovery and go to another stock? It all depends. If I've got if I've already found something that's great, then if that stock comes back up through where I got out or I want to get back in, now I got to evaluate and say, all right, am I better to have my money over someplace else, or is this still a good trade to get back into? And usually, if the market tanks real quick on the opening and then starts coming back up, it means the other stocks that I was looking at aren't probably going to do anything really great. So on my watch list is the one that I just got out. Now I want to see if I want to get back in again. And then I'll also keep an eye on the other ones to see which one would be the better trade. Are there any months you have a higher probability of being negative? No. Now, there are months, as we can see over the last few months, it's been difficult to make a whole lot of money because of this type of trending. And not so much this type of trending, this type of trading. Big down day, big up day, down day, up day, down day, up day. I mean, you don't have a trend starting. So right now, after a while, you say to yourself, all right, there is no trend in this market. So I have to trade everything based on the chart itself and be very quick that if that chart kind of disintegrates, get right back out and move on to something else, which means my trading is a lot quicker now. What I might normally hold on for 3, 5, 7 days, I might be only holding on for a day or two. Let's see. So, I was answering TradeWell. How many months with consistent month-to-month gain before? That's up to each individual. And if I was instructing somebody how to get ready to trade full-time and they were still working or had other things going on, I'd say, all right, don't use all your money. Use a portion of your money and set up your portfolio. But you're not so much interested in the profits that you're making with part of your money in the trades. You're more interested in how many correct trades do you have and what is that extrapolating if you had your full investment funds in place. And at some point, I mean, I think one of the pictures we had up earlier, no, that wasn't one. I think Cartech. Cartech, after 4 or 5 months, decided he'd quit his job and go full-time, which he's trading full-time right now and apparently doing very well. When I grow up, I'm going to be a candlestick. No, you don't want to be like me, Al, out of shape. Yes, I'm back short on lean hogs. Oh, why would you type in lean? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so near the end of the day, I mean, I took my profits when it was trading down big. And again, this is kind of very simple technique that when it was trading down big and we saw our first buy signal, had huge profits for the day, went ahead and took profits. And then when it came back down through the halfway point of this candle, remember, Japanese rice traders make it very simple. If this was the candle that told us the bulls might be taking control and they can trade it back down through the halfway point, it means the downtrend is still in progress. Same thing down here when it's started popping back up. Look how far away it was from the T-line. It was time to take profits again, and so I was ready to go short again, provided it confirmed that it wasn't going to stay below the T-line. Notice that this signal right here was not a signal. So that left me a little bit skeptical, doubtful. And then here was the signal. With stochastics in the overbought area, I went short right here, which was near the end of the day. Now, was that worthwhile? What it basically told me is if they weren't trading up near the end of the day on the 10-minute chart, that meant my daily chart was still going to be down in this area, no real buy signal or anything. So tomorrow I'd anticipate that it's trading lower. If it does open positive, I'll take profits, and then I'll put my sell stop right here. If it came back down through there, they're still selling it off. And let's see. Is it too late to buy SUPN? Yes. This is exactly what we want to learn by using candlesticks. Remember, the Japanese rice traders made it very simple for us to see what happens in human nature. Where do most people buy? They buy exuberantly at the top, and we can see when that exuberance comes in. So this is where you want to be looking to buy a chart, right in this area, not up here. This is where you start looking to start selling. So this is what we're trying to get around, and I say what we're trying to get around. This was usually me buying up here back before candlesticks came along. And I would always ask myself, and this is even being a stockbroker, how come when I recommended everybody to start buying this stock and immediately turn around and went the other way? How could I keep doing that? But right here, there was no reason, there was nothing out there to say buy this stock here. There's just no enthusiasm. Except now we can see on a candlestick chart where that enthusiasm is starting. So that was a long answer to say no, I wouldn't be buying here. If you own it, you start looking for profit taking. JH, we'll get to the individual ones here in a minute. How long do you stay in a stock? If I see something like this, where it came up and then it started moving sideways, I can now say or anticipate what's happening. I'm in a fry pan bottom. I might close it out and wait for that next strong buy signal. Because from here to here, I may have been in another trade that was moving like this instead of having my money sit sideways. Which is more critical, distance from the T-line or the moving average? On a short-term trading basis, the T-line. Because that's going to tell you what's happening right now. So this is the critical one. The moving average, as you can see, the 50, they may never come back to it for a while. We're more interested in what's happening right now. Announces Monday will close 175 stores. Whoops, how did I scroll all the way down there? They cut 259. Let's see. GPS, still no enthusiasm. So, again, this is, I think they made that announcement before the day started, right? So there's nothing here yet. As you can see, it's trying to base, so there's nothing really starting it up. Fry pan bottom breakout, rounded bottom breakout, basically the same thing. Yeah, Lori, I keep seeing all the pictures of California where everything's being plowed back under. Shop, So at this point, well, it's moved up pretty dramatically. At this point, I would stay long, but I'd have my stop at each day's open. So today's open, I open around 34.09. I'd have a sell stop there. It shouldn't come back down through that level because you're now getting up toward the overbought condition. Do you make more money trading stocks or options? AW, it all depends on each individual. I've got some accounts where we're just trading stocks, and then I've got my little trading account where I'm more apt to trade the options. So it all depends on the nature of the investor, number one, and usually the size of the trading account. If I had a $500,000 trading account, I wouldn't be trading all options. I'd probably be trading 90% of it or 95% of it in stock and maybe 5% of it in options. When you have a seminar in Texas, I don't know when I'll get back to Texas. Still have one of the houses down there, but just too pleasant up here in Pittsburgh and not pleasant during the summertime in Texas. What's the advantage of having several accounts? All depends on where they started. Some are retirement accounts. Some are one's a trading account. Let's see. The 3T line is the 3 EMA. Wannabe, I use Thinkorswim only because I can trade options, futures, stock all out of one account without having to shift money back and forth to different accounts for different trades. Aren't you trading accounts for other people? Yeah, I've got a few of those. Okay, I guess with that, Jim, let's go ahead and do the double line. And in 4.6 seconds, do another double line. Okay, we're already late. I guess I jabbered. Oh, it's because we were having the technical problems. 10, as you can see, is moving sideways. It's not a very dynamic stock. You don't have that big a percentage move. It would have to open positive tomorrow after this long-legged doji to tell me that I want to stay in it. If it opened lower, it tells me I'm stuck sideways. I'd be moving on to something else. GWPH, another one that if I was out yesterday, I'd be buying it back on positive trading tomorrow and just use the T-line as a stop. Rutro, F-E-Y-E. Just stay long on this one. That looks like your classic fry pan bottom, J-hook type pattern. AMBA still acts well. I'd stay long. You have a little shooting star, so I'd use this point right here, about the halfway point of this candle, that if it came down through there, you know there's some profit taking going on. They're probably bringing it back to the T-line. Guild, all you can do with this one is stay long as it stays up above the T-line. And Cigna, big breakout. I would suspect a 45 degree to come off of here. Rite Aid came back up above the T-line, getting a little bit soggy, and notice where it's getting soggy, right where it topped out before. I would have to see this open positive and trade positive tomorrow to stay in it. If it started trading back below the T-line, pretty much tells me they failed up here at the resistance level. I'd move on to something else. And Apple just hasn't been able to get out of this wedge formation. Not trading Apple right now only because there's no direction to it. It's got this wedge. Needs to break out one way or the other. Cyber, yes, is working well. Got calls on this one, and we'll stay with it. There's a good possibility they could be breaking this one out. Get you another move like this, which would be on a short-term basis. 20 points. That could take you up into about the $85 range. MX, you just stay, well, this one, if you didn't close it out today, this one should have been closed out today with it opening below the T-line and trading down. That's where I would have closed it out. Now, if it comes back up through the T-line tomorrow, I can buy it back, because then it has the potential of doing that little Morningstar scoop type pattern, and you're back up above the T-line. That's when I would buy it back. If you're long, and this does open weaker tomorrow, you close it out. That means it's lost its steam. MTOR, wouldn't be long or short this one right now. Just really, if you bought it here with a trading positive after coming up and then closed back below the T9, you should be out, because now, even though it had a buy signal, it negated it, and now look at the trajectory, just sideways. I would rather pay $14.40 for it, knowing that it broke out to the upside. ADXS is on the watch list, getting ready. If this opens positive, you've got a J-hook pattern in progress. Visa sideways. I wouldn't be long or short this one. There's nothing there. And Home Depot, same scenario. It's not going anywhere. It's stuck below the 50, and when it pulls back, it's not pulling back with any great enthusiasm. So I wouldn't be short. I wouldn't be long or short Home Depot. Tazar, starting that little J-hook classic. You can buy this one on positive trading. Halo, as long as this stays up above the T-line, you can stay long. And Blue, I saw news on Blue a little bit ago. But right now, if you were long this one, you should have been out today. They were trading below the T-line. They have not been able to get it back up above the T-line. I'd be moving on to something else. And XON needs to open positive tomorrow to stay in it. Trove had been acting well. It can't close below the T-line, so this one has to open positive tomorrow to stay in it. And LYB, same scenario. It's using the T-line as a support level. It needs to open positive. If it opened lower, pretty much telling me this downtrending channel is kind of moving sideways, waiting for more for the 50-day moving average to catch up to it. And BOFI, another one that you definitely want to see this one open positive tomorrow. Otherwise, it's getting a little bit soggy. QSR, you stay short on this one till you see a buy signal. And Goog, nothing here. I wouldn't be long or short because it's in a sideways channel. There's better places to have your money. Fold, I would stay long even though it pulled back a little bit today. Notice how it still used the 3T line as a support after the belt hold last Thursday. And Court, be ready to buy this one on positive trading tomorrow with the inverted hammer signal, which is one of your high probability signals that if it opens positive, they're staying above the T-line. BAK, another one you can just stay with as long as it's above the T-line. And DEC, nothing real exciting here either. You're stuck sideways. It needed to break out, and notice at the breakout point it did a left-right combo to the bearish side. It's supporting on the 20, but there's nothing to tell us if there's any buying or selling going on. I'd be someplace else on this one. And CVS, let's see. That one's still having a hard time getting out of the trend channel. If you like this, you stay long. Just don't let it close back below the T-line. Bidu, you can stay with this as long as it can't close below the T-line. Kerr, there's a bullish Harami today. Another one that you can be buying. Just make sure you got a lot of volume in this one. And EVLV, this one you can get ready to buy. Also make sure you got volume in it. But that's a little best friend signal being confirmed with a close above the T-line. That one's got good upside potential. The PAS, this one showed up on my radar tonight. Little kicker type signal, closed right at the 50. You can buy this one on Positive Trading, telling you the 50 is not acting as resistance after the little kicker signal. S-Fun, again, this is where the warning came in. Look how far away you moved from the T-line. And then they've done a bearish harami near the lower end of that candle. Makes it very simple. They have to open this positive and trade positive. If they open it lower, they're coming back to test the T-line. You'll have to see what it does at that level. ASPS, still stay long on this one. Looks like you're in wave 3. At this point, I would use today's low as my stop. It shouldn't come back down through there after the doji yesterday or today. See, we did fold CRMD. Get a hammer signal in the oversold area. If you're short, get ready to cover it on a positive open. I wouldn't buy it, though, until it came back up above the T-line. Sage, you can get ready to go short after the doji bearish candle. And CTRL, that's a nice slow curve fry pan bottom breakout. Expect your next target to be the 200-day moving average. Restoration, notice how they couldn't close this below the T-line. Here's another case where I might have closed this out on a gap down open and trading lower and then bought it back as it came back up through the open because that told me the buyers were still there and they weren't going to close it below the T-line. Micron. Micron, if you're short, now you start getting ready for to cover your short position. Where do most people sell? They panic sell at the bottom. Doji, a gravestone or a dragonfly doji in the oversold area after a gap down. That's where people you start looking for buy. If this opened positive tomorrow, I would cover short positions. May not necessarily go long, but at least would cover short positions. NPTN, all you can do with this one is stay long. Also use today's low as your stop. ESPR, nothing here yet. Probably wouldn't play with this one until they get back up toward the T-line. AVGO, left-right combo. This one you can get ready to buy on Positive Trading tomorrow. That left-right combo is a very strong reversal signal. Notice how they bounced right off the 20. Get ready for a J-hook pattern, your classic fry pan bottom J-hook pattern. AGEN, nothing to do here except stay long. What are the cyber calls? Right now I'm still in the June. I'll probably start rolling over in the next day or so into July's if this chart is still working well. It's probably too late for a debit spread because we're in the final week, which means I would probably be, and you could do a credit spread depending on what puts are out there. I usually only do the credit spreads during the final week of expiration just to kind of reduce the risk. Obviously, the profitability is very low, but the probabilities are extremely high. Whiting picked up a little bit of steam today. Whoops, what happened? Whiting picked up a little steam. We're ready to buy this one back if it can break through the 50, which kind of coincides with this downtrending channel. this one's still got, it's still on our long-term radar. No picture yet, Richard? Man. Right now I'm in the June cyber calls, and I'll be flipping over to the July's. Okay, muffled sound and no picture. Quart, inverted hammer, and a doji. So it means it has to open positive. If it opens lower, you've lost the trajectory of the fry pan bottom. Shaft, all that means is it's getting too close to June expiration. So I'll probably start closing out the June calls and buying the July calls just to give me more time in this, what I hope would be an up move. Okay, I'll work on seeing if I can clear some of my stuff on Omno to make sure it's not coming from this end. All right, I've kept everybody up past their bedtime. If you need any more details on the private training sessions at Keuka Lake, email me, steve@candlestickforum.com. I'll be glad to go through all the process. And if you're thinking about it, I just ask a question out here to the people that have already been in it and let them answer you from their point of view. Okay, with that, everybody have a good evening. We'll see you in the chat rooms bright and early tomorrow.